Beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Titilayo, and if this is your first time to see me on your screen or stopping by on my channel, it is very nice to meet you. You are welcome, and if this is not your first time, welcome back. So today's video is, as you can tell from the title, is a life update video. I did promise you guys on Snapchat as well as Instagram that I was going to come on here and explain what has been going on in my life so far. So the last couple of months have been really crazy, and I just wanted to come in here and just chill out with you guys and talk and just kind of open myself up a little bit to you guys, just because I feel like there's a lot of things that I would want to share with you guys that I haven't shared, and I just felt like, you know what, why not? Why not? I'm going to be opening myself up and explaining pretty much how my life has progressed throughout the entire year and where I'm at now and my hopes for the end of the year. So just to keep myself on track, I actually do have like a list of things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I kind of have it happening in like, chronological order, which is good because I feel like the entire year, like, things just kind of piled up. So I think it will make more sense this way for you guys to understand how things became what they were. So just as like a spoiler alert, I did actually go through a lot of anxiety this year. I'm not a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I'm not going to actually diagnose myself with depression, but I did have a lot of feelings of depression this year. A lot of things happened, and I had to deal with a lot of things that I wasn't prepared to deal with, and that's the reason why. But this video is mainly explaining what happened and how I got out of it, and hopefully I can help someone as well if you're going through things like this. You can also, I can give you tips and tricks on how you can get yourself out of that feeling, out of that, like, ditch, because it's really hard. I feel like it's really hard. Let's start from the very beginning. So the beginning of the year was like super rough for me, just because I was going through a really bad breakup at the beginning of this year. I'm not ready to share the details about the whole relationship and things like that. I just feel like that's a video for another day. Plus I really care about people's privacy, so I do want to keep, I want to maintain, or I want to respect everyone's privacy in this issue. So I did go through a bad breakup at the beginning of the year. It was hard, but at the same time, I wouldn't say I used to, because I still do, but I like to consider myself a strong woman who isn't dependent on a man for anything. So when the whole breakup thing happened, I think I was leaning more towards that, oh, you're strong, you never even needed him in the first place, like, you're good. And then, like, as things started to progress and as the years started to go and as months passed, it really dawned on me how much that breakup really hurt me. Things just started to unveil throughout the rest of the year. People started to get involved, friends started to get involved, and it was just like, it became a whole, forgive my French, shit show. Like, it was really hard, and then I just felt like something that was supposed to have ended at the beginning of the year, and I could have gone through my entire year without, any side feelings or like anything, just became this huge issue. I brushed it off for like the first couple of months, but then in May, the whole thing started to come back again into my life. So for me, it was really hard, just like, removing myself from the entire situation, because it did become a situation. I felt betrayed by not just the guy, but a friend as well. And it was just, I don't know, a lot of things just happened. And again, like I said, I do not want to go into the details of this relationship and like the whole breakup thing, but I do feel like that was one thing, I won't lie, that actually stole my joy this year. I felt like I was trying to make things work, and then he had already given up. So that, it hurt, yeah. I don't like to admit that, but it did hurt, and that was one of the things that actually put me in a really bad place. And it was the beginning of the year, but also it was my final year in university, so I was also trying to be very, focused on school. So I guess I just being busy that first couple of months really took away from me focusing on my heartache and the entire relationship. So when school ended in May, I was super happy. That was like one of the highest points of the year for me, was being able to say bye-bye to uni or to undergrad, because you all know we're going to end up in school at some point again. But just being able to say bye-bye to undergrad was such a huge point for me. And then just like right around the time of my graduation, the whole breakup thing started up again. There was like scandals and issues, and I was just like, is this trying to come again, like rear its ugly head again at my time of joy? So at that point, I really did have to like evaluate my life. I did evaluate my life, and I thought about it. I'm like, you know what, I don't need this. And that was when I really cut like the excess baggage off, like everyone that was, you know, everyone that was involved in a negative way, the whole breakup thing. I really did cut them off. I thought cutting people off would be like cutting them off, just like, you know, no explanations, nothing, would be the best way to do things, because I'm not the kind of person that likes to explain myself. I would like, you know, have a conference meeting with you and be like, sis, this is the reason why we're no longer friends. I will try and explain my side of the story to you. I'll try and explain like, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and in the long run our relationship ain't working out, or we've come too far, we've done too many things to each other, we've said too many things to each other, we've been bad friends a lot to each other, to the point where I don't think we can redeem ourselves anymore. So normally I would have explained that, but I felt like when it came to this particular situation, I didn't feel the need to. And I don't know, I just had that conviction, and I did speak to my mom and we prayed about it. So it was like, I just felt, you know what, nah, y'all are just. So I put everyone aside. But then the bad thing about that was that I also pushed away like people that I really cared about as well, just because it's new for me to push people away or to put people at arm's length. So I felt like around this period, even relationships that I cared about and people who cared about me, I kind of pushed them away too. So I became in this little bubble just by myself. And I lived with my sister at the time, so it was just like I was just, you know, by myself. If we weren't going out, if I wasn't going out with my sister, I wasn't going anywhere. And well, my best friend as well, if we weren't going out together, I wasn't going anywhere. I went to church, I went to work, that was it. So I didn't really have like a social life. I didn't really have that many friends at that point. So I think that was one of the things that actually made things bad for me in the long run, because around this time I was also applying for jobs, and yo, it's not easy. Oh my god. So it was hard. I wouldn't even lie, like it was hard. I started applying for jobs around June, because I graduated in May, but I was still working at my like previous workplace up until August. So I don't know if that gave me like, you know, for the first couple of months it gave me like that, you know, peace of mind that, you know what, at least you still have like a source of income at this point. Just calm down and look for something that you will enjoy and all that, right? And so I was calming down and just looking, taking my time. I would wake up, I would look, I'll go to bed, I'd look, like it became like a routine. You wake up, you apply, you go to work, you apply, before you go to bed, you apply. Like I'm always applying for jobs. And the thing is, it wasn't like I wasn't getting called for interviews. I was, but I just wasn't getting it. And that crushed my spirit. Like this was the time when I actually started having major, I wouldn't say depression, but feelings of depression. Like, and the thing is, I felt like for a very long time I tried to hide that, and I was actually like, you know, faking it till, you know, till I made it pretty much, because I'm the type of person that I live off the energy that's around me. So if I'm at work, I like everywhere to be bubbly. I don't like to like wear this sad face. So at work I know that, okay, I need to apply for jobs so that in the next couple of months when my contract ends, I'll actually have somewhere to work. But then at the same time, I'm trying not to make it look like, oh, I'm anxious about anything. Just because like the people I work with, like especially people I worked with in uni were such amazing people. If something was wrong with me, best believe everyone would be down. Like I'm not saying like just me, but like we're just the type of people, like if somebody's having a bad day, everyone's having a bad day. So like I always tried not to bring that energy to work. So it became hard because it's like, oh, at home I'm feeling this type of way, but then at work I have to kind of push all of those feelings aside and, you know, do this. And I mean, there were times when I had to rant and be like, this is exactly what's going on, but just in a cheerful way as well, just because you don't want to bring down everybody's spirit and be like, you know, the party pooper and everything. So that was really like, that was me for about 3 months, because I just started applying in June and this went up until September, because I did stay there eventually till September. And it was just like I was in shock, just because I had expected to get something during the summer. So now with September, my contract ends the first week of September and I still don't have a job. Like, there were nights where I would stay up and cry. There were nights where like I wouldn't go to bed until I've applied for every single job on the website. Like, I started speaking to people directly. Like, it was just crazy. One thing that I felt like really brought me down as well was the fact that I didn't really have anyone to really, like, you know, speak to or go out with or like leave the house with, just to get my mind away from this. I mean, I could have done it with my sister, but she's also in the same situation looking for jobs as well. So it's like our house became this job search, this job house. Like, everybody's looking for a job. So we're both complaining to each other. She's complaining to me, I'm complaining to her. So it's like there's really no third party, no like neutral party exactly that we can explain this to. And I tried as much as possible to keep my parents out of this, because I just felt like there were even some interviews I went for that I didn't tell my parents about, because once you tell Momsy and Popsy, it's like, oh, everybody's like rooting for you to get that job, and then they come back 3 days later with the, oh, we found people with better qualification, and I'm like, that happened like continuously. In fact, it got to a point where I was so tired of doing interviews. One interview that I did that like killed me was like for a door-to-door sales job, and I had to work, like, first of all, I wore heels to all of my interviews just cause I'm extra like that. I did my makeup flawless and I wore my heels to all of my interviews. And there was this particular interview that I went for, and I got called back for like a second interview, and the job pretty much is like a door-to-door sales job. So you go and knock on people's doors and try to sell them like a bundle plan. First of all, I didn't really like, I was interested to see what was going on, but I didn't feel like that job was for me. And that's because I feel like for the pay that they were giving, the benefits that I was getting, which there were no benefits, I just felt like it's a lot of stress to go through for such little gain. So then at this point I was fed up. But like, when this happened and they offered me the job but I turned it down, I was like, God, this is you, because now you're letting me know that I'm going to have so many options that I'm going to start turning things down, because I'm not going to accept a job that I would quit in the next 6 months. Like, I'm that type of person, like, if I'm getting a job, I know I'm staying there for a couple of years. Like, I don't do the whole, oh, let's do this for 6 months, let's just get money for rent and then keep applying, and then once something comes, we'll move. Like, I'm not that type of person. So when they offered me this job, I was like, I'm going to keep searching. So then that night, like the exact same night I came back from that interview, basically I was so tired. I was dead tired. Like, the guy I went with, he's, you know, he's Caucasian. So when he saw me wearing my heels, he's like, do you have some other comfortable shoes? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Like, these are my most comfortable heels. Sis, after walking for like almost 5 hours, I was like, sir, okay, do you mind if I change my shoes? Like, I wasn't even proud at this point. Like, I changed my shoes literally in front of this guy. And it was crazy because we were on the road. That was how bad it was. Like, my legs were killing me, and I was just like, I was so dead tired. But then, I don't know, something just woke me up at 4, and I believe it was God, honestly. So I woke up at 4 and I just thought about it. I was like, you know what? Like, what about all these other places you've applied to? Like, start calling them back. So the next day, I actually went, like that night before I could go back to bed, I actually went and wrote every company that I had applied to. I wrote them down and I was like, I'm calling this ones tomorrow, I'm calling this ones tomorrow. I remember this was the position I applied for. I opened everything up on my laptop. I'm like, I remember this company, I applied for this company, I applied for this. I'm calling you all tomorrow. Because the thing is, these particular companies were the ones that never really got back to me. So I was in limbo with them. It wasn't like I got rejected like the other ones, but at the same time I didn't get a response. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to call all of them back tomorrow. So the next day I woke up and I was like, you know, I called every one of them. I called, like, there were 3 or 4 of them. I called all of them, and then one of them was like, oh, you know what, like, this was on a Wednesday. So one of them was like, oh, you know what, like the position you applied for previously, well, you need this certificate, like you need to be an IT specialist or something like that. You need to have like IT experience, which I didn't have or I don't have. So they're like, why don't you go on our website and look for like other jobs, like we're actually hiring right now. And you know what? Apply. So I applied that day. I got a call back that day around like evening time. I did the phone interview with them. Funny thing was that this was the same position that my sister just got offered a couple of weeks back. So she was supposed to start training on Friday. So I got the call, and like this was on Wednesday evening. I got the call. They're like, oh, okay, can you come in on Thursday for a face-to-face interview? I'm like, at this point I'm jobless, I'm unemployed, like I'm not going anywhere, my contract is ended. Why not? I'm coming in. So I went in on Thursday for this job interview, and they actually offered me the job on the spot. And the thing that made me feel like this is actually God working is the fact that by Friday I started working. So, and I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, remember, like even me, because when I finished my contract with the university, I was like, you know what, I also want to just take a week off, like just a week and just rest. Because with me, like throughout university, it's always been school, and then once I got a job, it was like schoolwork. So if I wasn't going to school, I was working. If I wasn't working, I was going to school. So this was like the final time like that I felt like, okay, there's no school, and even though it's an unfortunate situation, but there's also no job at this point, I just want to take a week for myself and just rest. Even though I felt like a week was too much, I eventually took just like 4 days, but it was too much just because, fam, when you're alone, no one to talk to or anything, you start to really think about your life. And I started to think, I'm like, bruh, no job. So when I spoke to my mom and I told her I got the job and everything, she was the one who actually reminded me that, remember you said you wanted just a week off, like look at how God has done it. I had exactly just 1 week off. Like I wasn't employed for over a week. And so I felt like, oh, if I said I wanted just 2 days off, God would have provided the job by the 3rd day, so it would have been just 2 days. So at this point in my life, after I got this job and you know my spirit started to rise again, I'd cut off, you know, excess baggage people from the beginning of the year. Now I had a job, and now I had a way to get to work because my sister worked there as well, and we were in training for about 5 weeks, so our schedules were still the same. So it was like, it was a dream come true because I didn't have to take the bus. My life was good. It was perfect. And then it wasn't unfortunate, but then fortunately my sister got a better job, but it was outside of the province, so then she had to move. Now it was like, and this happened like a couple of weeks after we actually got this new job together, and it was just like, I felt like, what is really going on here? Because I wouldn't say it's the devil using us, the devil trying to test us or anything, because getting a good job, like she actually got a way better job than what I'm doing now, and it was a job in her field. That's like, even if the pay isn't as good or whatever, as long as it's in your field, what you studied in school, it's a good job. So I was really happy for her, but at the same time, I'm like, my life is about to take a dive in another direction, because at this point, I was just getting over all of this things that had been causing me so much anxiety and everything that I couldn't sleep, and now there's like another thing that's coming for me. The thing was like, everything was super short notice. She had to move by the end of the month after she got the job, so then we had to start looking for roommates. So just even thinking about it just takes me back, and I don't want to go back to that. Like I just got into this whole state of mind like, what the hell is going on? But then I knew that God has his reasons for doing things, and obviously this is something that's actually going to help her career. So I wasn't like, don't go, because I can't tell her not to go. But at the same time, I'm really like stressing about my life now, because I've never lived with a roommate before, and the only roommate I've ever had is my sister, or I've stayed alone like on residence, but I've never lived alone in an apartment. I've never lived with a roommate. So I was just like, I'm getting to that point where I'm adulting, but I'm adulting too fast, because I feel like I'm still young to be going through all of this. But I told God, I was like, you know, I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm not going to live with a stranger. That's what I said. And then I told my parents about it, and then we started praying. I feel like one thing that really helped me in this whole, like in everything, one thing that really helped was prayers, just because I had lost hope on so many things. But then when I spoke to my parents and they helped pray, I would have like prayer sessions and everything. I don't know, I just started to have this peace. I didn't know how God was going to do it, but I knew He was going to do it. God just did it. Like before the middle of October, we found a roommate, and like I prayed for it, I'm not living with a complete stranger, which is amazing, because I was just picking people off apps at this point, which is dangerous. But God brought somebody at the nick of time. And then after all of that happened and I found a roommate, the next thing that was now really on my mind was the fact that my sister left the car and it was just sitting down doing nothing. And I hate to be a waster, and I felt like I was actually wasting this gift that my parents had gifted us with by just leaving it in the house. Now, a lot of things really made me anxious, because the first time I did my test in July, I failed. But then I had done like I had done like an adequate amount of practice before my next test that was in, I think my next test was in August. I did like, you know, moderate amount of practice, but then I went again and I failed again, and the time I failed it, like my instructor was like, okay, that's fine, like just book another date. And so I booked the other date, and like she was explaining to me that the guy who actually took my test that time is one of the strict guys and everything, that's not even his regular location. But I just felt like God has a reason for doing things. So I went to him, I went that time, and he happened to be the one who took me for the test. And you know, at this point, I was just like, let God have his way. Like, I'm not going to push, just because. And I spoke to my mom about it, and immediately I said this, she was like, that's exactly what she was thinking, is that what if I got my license that day, I started driving the car and I got into an accident? Like, this might be God's way of shielding me from the disaster. So it's like, you know what, let's take the time. So that was the second time. The third time I did the test, like my sister was even telling me, she's like, you know what, it's like you're following my footsteps. Like I had to do my test 3 times as well. Like once you go for the third one, you're going to get it. You're going to be good. You're golden. Like everybody was rooting for me. And then I went and did this test. And normally you're supposed to get 45 points. I got 47 points. Woo! Yo, my spirit was shaking. Like I was like even my instructor, the person I usually go for the test with, she's like, you're such a good driver. She believed even in my abilities more than I did. Like, because I was still like, oh, and I still am like a little shaky on the steering and everything, just because I'm trying to, you know, do all of the rules, check all of my shoulder checks and everything. But she's like, oh, you're such a good driver. Like when I came back that day and I waited in the car, because you know, like when you fail the test, you don't really go into the office. You just wait outside for your instructor to come meet you. When she came meet me outside, she's like, again? She's like, what happened? What did he do? Like, she actually met the guy, because unfortunately, or I don't know if it's unfortunately or God has his way of doing things, maybe fortunately for me, I got that same strict man again. And this wasn't even his regular location. 2 times I have gone for this test in this new location, and for some reason I keep getting this man who isn't even supposed to be here. And she actually met the man. She's like, what happened? Like, she's such a good driver. Like, why did you fail her pretty much? And he's like, well, she needs to watch her speed. And I wasn't even like, the only thing that really brought me down was the fact that it was 2 points. And the thing about the test is that everyone, like it's almost winter time, everyone's trying to get their road test in before winter, because then it becomes harder to drive on the roads, right? So the dates, it's hard to get like another date. So that was my problem, because the time I did it in August, I couldn't get a date until October. So now that I failed the one in October again, I was really anxious, because I'm like, I might not get anything till January. And when I actually called them the first time, they're like, oh, you know what, yeah, like we don't have anything available for the rest of the year. You're going to have to wait till next year. And I'm here like, I don't even have winter tires on the car yet. Like, I literally can't move the car from the parking spot to go get winter tires. If I have to wait till January, I'm not driving that car for the entire winter, because it's going to have its all-season tires and there's going to be snow on the road and that's going to be an accident. So it's like, I'm thinking about all of these and I'm, you know, very anxious, and I'm just like, I'm reaching out to everybody I know. I'm like, mommy, daddy, let's pray, because this isn't going to happen. So I joined my faith with everyone's faith, like other people in my church as well. I spoke to them about it, and I spoke to my friends, and like we all prayed, we all like, you know, said words of encouragement. And as God will have it, the same day I called them and they told me I had to wait for January, I called them and they had a date in literally the next week. Because when you fail the test, you have to wait a week to do the test again. They had the test date available for the week after I had failed, like for November 1st. Like I was just like, wow. So I called them again, I booked the test for November 1st, and now I'm like in Zen mode. But then days moving, like days going towards the test, like the day before the test I couldn't sleep, like I couldn't eat. I was just in panic because I was like, really, first of all, I'm wasting money, but money is wasting. So it's like every single time I have to pay for another test, I'm spending a significant amount of money that's beginning to add up. So it's like, this has to be the last time. And I said to myself, I'm like, if you don't do it this time, if you can't get it this time, we're gonna just have to chill, because that's it. And trust me, like once I put my mind to having something at a certain time, if I don't have it, it kind of shakes me. So it's like, I already put my mind to it that I want to start driving this car well before December, well before the winter time. So it's like, now it's November. If you can't get it by now, like if you can't get it now, there's no point wasting more money. Just leave it. So I went for the test and I passed. I was so happy. Like I got somebody completely different. In fact, I got 47 points the last time I failed the test, and in the new test, the one I actually passed, I got just 12 points. So I was like, what was the other guy saying that made him mark 47 points off me, whereas this man only saw 12 points? And you know, I was like, this is definitely favor, because the other test, not like I didn't pray, but I prayed by myself, and you know, it was more of like I believed more in my abilities. But then I think God also wanted to open my eyes to see that no matter how small the thing is, even if it's something you're so skilled at, you still need God. So it wasn't until I actually mixed my faith with other people's faith and like actually met with people to pray for me that I actually passed this test. And it was like, it's a huge range, and that's the reason why I'm just like, it was 1 week apart. It wasn't like I'd been practicing for another extra month or 2 months, and that's the reason why. It was literally a week apart, and I got 47 points and 12 points. Like, when I think about it till this day, I'm like, that's definitely God. Like, He just wants to open my eyes and be like, you still need me. Like, you feel like you know how to drive stairs, but you still need me. And I just feel like in everything that I said today, all of these issues and things that have kind of stolen my joy in a sense, and like things that just changed my life and I had to walk my way back, I just saw how much I needed to believe in God. And for people who are not like, you know, Christians or like don't believe in a God or anything, I really, really hope like this speaks to you. Like the only way that I was able to truly get myself out of this anxiety was to actually believe in a bigger power. We're humans, and once we get to a point where we can't help ourselves anymore, if you don't believe in something bigger than you, you would fall. Like, that's just it. Because even though, yes, I'm a Christian or anything, there were times when I believed more in myself. Or like, I wouldn't say I forgot God, but there were times where I was like, oh, I know how to do this. Like, definitely. Like, look at the whole driving thing. Like, oh, yeah, I know how to drive. Definitely. And I failed the test like 3 times and had to do it like the 4th time. Even though I believed that, oh, I should have the skill sets. Like, that 3rd time, after I failed the test, I didn't even think I knew how to turn on the car anymore. So it was like, just believing that, okay, there's something bigger out there, and there's something bigger than me, just was what really helped me. But surrounding myself with people who actually love and care about me. Like, I'm not super close to my parents, but at this point, like at this trying point in my life, I got super close to them. And when I say I'm not super close to my parents, I mean like, obviously I love my parents to bits, but then I'm not like the person that calls every time. If I want to call, I just want to make sure they're alright and I leave. Like, it's not like I don't have like, oh, time to jizz. Like, I'm beginning to sound like a bad child, but I gist with my parents, I tell them things about me, but then I'm not that, like my sister does that way more than I do. But I feel like at this point, just needing like people who actually genuinely, unconditionally care for me was what I needed. And I needed to find friends like that. And obviously I have my parents who unconditionally care for me, thank God. So it was like, they were my go-to people in this trying period of my life. I don't even know like how much they helped me through some of these things. Like the night I called them before my test, before my last driving test, I couldn't sleep. It was almost 3 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. So it was like, this thing had stolen my sleep. So calling them at that point, like they didn't even complain. Like they were like, they didn't even say, oh, it's 7 a.m. Nigerian time. They didn't even think about that. They're like, you know what, let's pray. Like, I just like how they're always like able to catch on fire for me. Like, they're able to drop everything for me and my siblings. Like, they're goals. They are goals. So I guess for people who believe in God, the first and the foremost way, and the only way pretty much, and for people who don't believe in God as well, for me the only way, in my opinion, to get out of anxiety and depression is to believe in a bigger power than what you have. But then also, you can also, like, you know, surround yourself with people who love you. Because when you get into like the first time you feel anxious about something or start feeling depressed, the first thing is to move yourself out of the circle. And like I mentioned, like when everything started happening at the beginning of the year, I pushed everybody away. Like, that's the one mistake you don't want to make, because once you push people away, it's hard to kind of bring them back. And bringing people back, except there are people who want to come back, you won't get everybody back. Like right now, I have friends that nothing happened, I didn't do anything to them, but we just don't talk anymore. And that's just because when I was jammed and I had to push everybody away, they went away, or like, you know, everybody just left Titi as Titi is. But when it was time and I was like, okay, now I'm feeling better, like let's all, you know, let's come back. It was hard to get these friends back. So it's like, not like I'm saying they weren't good friends or like we're not good friends or anything, but to me it's just like, except people to truly genuinely care about you, once you push everyone away, it's hard to get everybody back. You're starting to feel like anxious or depressed, talk to somebody about it. If you have a pastor, talk to your pastor about it. If you have a priest, talk to your priest about it. Talk to like your parents, talk to a counselor, talk to somebody who's older than you, talk to a mentor about it, just because you don't want to get yourself in that point where you've pushed literally everybody away and now it's hard for you to get help when you need help. I had to take some time off for myself as well from YouTube, and I'm just happy like a bunch of you guys reached out to me. Like I had a friend who literally texted me, she's like, what is going on? Why are your videos inconsistent? And I'm like, you know what, like everything is just happening, and not like there are bad things that are happening, like nobody's dying or whatever, but everything's happening, but everything is happening too fast. And that's the reason why it was hard for me to grab a hold of everything. And I feel like you just have to keep an open mind as well, just so you don't get yourself into this particular state that I got myself into. Just because I wasn't prepared for any change. I was like, this is how my life is now. This is how it's going to be for a while. So now at least I'm more like, you know, more flexible. If something happens, okay, something has happened. If it hits me from the other side, I'm like, okay, something has happened. But before I used to be so rigid. So it was like when things happened and like winds were blowing, they literally broke me. But now I'm more flexible. So instead of breaking me, I'm just going to bend to the side, bend to the side, bend, bend, bend. This is me literally telling you that I wouldn't have survived being depressed or feeling depressed and anxious the entire summer without God. God needed to take me through all of these things for me to see the reason why I'm personally still a Christian. So it's not just because, oh, your parents are Christian, so obviously that's how you grew up. I'm a Christian just because I can see the wonders that God has done for me. And I do hope that for those people who are not yet Christians, but do, like, you know, you just even feel like a certain, like you just feel like there might be a higher power. I do hope that this video actually helps you to start to explore those options. Go to like a Bible believing church close to you, like speak to somebody who, like your friend who's a Christian. Hey, send me an email, drop it in the comment box. I'm ready to respond, just because I had to go through all of these things which might seem like nothing, but pretty much anything that steals your joy and gives you thoughts other than the thoughts that God has for us, which is thoughts of, you know, good health and thoughts of a sound mind. Anything that pretty much diverts from all of those things, anything that starts to make you anxious, anything that starts to steal your sleep, anything that starts to steal your joy and your happiness, it's a big deal. And for me, they happen to be these minor issues. For someone else, it could be your dad's in the hospital dying. For someone else, it could be, I don't know, your sister's in the hospital dying. For someone else, it could be like you have no money. For someone else, you could be homeless. So obviously, our tribulations and our trials are like, they all vary. But ultimately, if something is stealing your joy, it's stealing your joy. So I'm happy that God took me through this part this year, and I was able to, you know, really see the reason why my relationship with God is very important. If you have any questions about, you know, how you can start, like, you know, if you want to start learning about God, I'm not even saying, here, give your life to Christ right now. I'm just saying, like, if you want to understand the reason why, like, I feel the way I feel about God, drop me a question in the comment section. If you relate to this video, let me know in the comment section. Like, I feel so happy being able to release all of this from my mind and just speak out about it, because that's one thing as well. Is like, when all of these are happening, you can't, like I mentioned, you really go into a shell. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're not already following me on Instagram as well as on Snapchat, you know what to do. Make sure to like this video if you liked it. Share this video if you think it's going to help someone. If you know somebody who's going through a hard time, share this video with them. Just let them know that God's got us. You know, like, God has actually got us, all of us. And yeah, I will see you all in my next video, God willing. Bye bye.